I just wanted to show you how to make an herbal infusion. So I use a food scale and I use a plastic container, which you don't really have to use, and a wide mouth funnel, which you also don't have to use. So I set the food scale so that it's zeroed out with the plastic container on it. I measure out 1 ounce of herb, which I'm using Nettle. But the same applies for whatever dried herb you're using. So I have an ounce of herb. Then I get a jar. I have a quart wide mouth jar. Put my funnel in there, and then I just pour my plant in there. Okay, once that's set, or after you have that in there, you can boil some water, which I just boiled, so it should be pretty quick. I tend to put the jar in the sink in case for some weird reason the jar would break. There's a mess in the sink and not a mess everywhere, especially with it being glass and boiling water. Anyway, I'm gonna get a lid. Okay, so okay, I'll transfer it to the sink, but I just want to show you. You pour the water in to fill it. I like to go really slowly. It gives the glass, I think, a chance to heat up slower. It helps the air. You don't have to do this either, but I just sort of gently tap it to get the air bubbles out. Sort of let it get wet at a slower pace and absorb the water so the bubbles come up now instead of later. When they come up now, I can add more water than otherwise. You can stir it a little bit. It also helps to get the bubbles out. Actually works pretty well. I never stirred it before, but yeah, that helps a lot. Interesting. So fill it to the top. And cap it. Like I said, the jar is hot, so be careful. Once you have this capped, do not shake the jar. It could really cause an explosion, and that would be terrible. Alright, so you have a capped jar. Again, I usually pour the water in the sink just because I just think it's safer there. Okay, so I usually do this at the end of the day and then just let it sit overnight. Then I strain it in the morning. Sometimes I'll let it sit, if I do it in the day, for like 4 hours and then put it in the fridge till the next day. Anyway, I'm unorganized. Hang on. Okay, I just use a strainer. If it's got really sort of fine particulates in it, I might strain it a second time with a finer strainer, but when it's done, you're ready to get the plant matter out of it. You just have a Corningware dish here and a strainer. I dump it in there. Don't do this over the sink because this infusion will all just drain away. So you collect it in the bowl, and the plant matter's in here, and like just I squeeze it out to get as much of the infusion out as I can, and then if you want, and I usually do, I double strain it with a more finer mesh strainer, but you don't have to. And that's it. Then you drink it, or use it as your compress, or however you're using it. Just make sure to get quality product, and don't shake the jar. Oh, a lot of times I do a second infusion on the same product because I figure I can get the herb to my dollar to go farther for me. And yeah, so that's it. How to make an herbal infusion. Bye for now.